Welcome to episode 1 of Harvey's Hustles. This series will be similar to Bruce's battles, but also different. My top Sky Hybrid, Harvey, will be pitted up against the other Apexes in the Skybrid War, seeing how he matches up against them and his chances of beating them. Now, this information would likely come in handy for the inevitable huge battle that's going to be happening at the end of the Skybrid Wars. And for episode 1, well, there was really no other pick. It was kind of obvious what Harvey was going to be fighting first. That, of course, being the Final 16's Valkyriopteryx, or Valkyrie for short, which is what I'm going to be referring to her as throughout the video. And yes, I believe Valkyrie is a she. It was a big inspiration for my own hybrid, and Valkyrie herself has quite a simple but effective genome. Hatzigopteryx provides the base. Pileated woodpecker reinforces the neck, the skull, and the beak, as well as providing a long tongue that can help shield the creature from its own damage that it can dish out. Lappet-faced vulture helps to bolster the immune system, as well as probably enhancing smell, and giving Valkyrie a strong stomach to help devour any kind of nasty carcasses. Bald eagle enhances the leg muscles, and gives Valkyrie a more effective set of talons, used for grasping things and picking them up, while also enhancing vision. Finally, the streaked tenrec helps to bolster defense with some quills, which also help to produce something called stridulation, but we'll get into that in a minute. These two hybrids are nearly identical to each other in terms of stats. The only real difference is being that Harvey is slightly longer thanks to his longer legs, and is also lighter with a shorter wingspan. But to compensate for that, he also has a longer neck and a larger head. So, this is going to work a bit different to Bruce's battles, where both contestants will be put through different categories, similar to Goji Center's battles, where there's 5 categories to choose from. In this case, offense, defense, mobility, intelligence, and important one, congruity. So, starting with offense, these two are both very close for that. Both have the ability to pretty much one-shot almost anything they come across with those beaks. However, Harvey has a slight edge in the pecking game, thanks to also help the beak being coated with iron thanks to the vampire bat, giving Harvey much more striking power with his beak than Valkyrie. In addition to that, then there's also the whole leg things. Valkyrie's talons are more likely to be effective in the air rather than on the ground, since they use very different foot anatomy. Valkyrie using feet from the bald eagle, whilst Harvey uses the cassowary and its large ratite toe claws. Both of them can do large amounts of damage, but Valkyries are more effective in the air, whilst Harvey's are more effective on the ground. However, Harvey has a couple of weapons which Valkyrie doesn't. The big one being his wings. Being able to use his wings in offensive attacks, unlike Valkyrie, who chooses not to do that. Because in a fight, having a large amount of weapons at your disposal can be a big difference, because sometimes your main choice of weapon won't always be available. It's that there's also another weapon that Harvey has, which the judges and the creator of the Sky Hybrid Wars seem to overlook. The white bellbird's screams. With his advanced respiratory system, thanks to the bar-headed goose, Harvey would be able to produce incredibly loud calls, possibly deafening anything that comes in close to its vicinity. That's not to say Valkyrie can fight back with sound of her own, because she can, but stridulation isn't the most reliable source of sound-based attacks. It's sort of an ultrasonic sound, which means this sound was designed for streaked tenrecs to basically paralyze creatures around the same size as it. This kind of sound would barely register to a human, and for something much larger than a human, it's highly unlikely that Harvey would even be able to hear the stridulation. Granted, its power may scale up more because of the larger size, but then again, quills cause some benefits, but also some drawbacks, which we'll get into in a minute. But for now, Harvey wins offense category and gets the first point. Moving on to defense is one I'm not really going to spend too long on because Valkyrie kinda runs away with this category, since her quills would make it very hard for anything to really hit her. That's not to say Valkyrie is Harvey has lacking in defense too, because he does have some defense. Granted, the tightly packed pycnofibers, thanks to the wood pigeon, wouldn't exactly protect him too much, but it's something that won't interfere with his mobility. Yeah, sure. While the hybrids are tied so far in points, mobility is an issue when it comes to large Asdarchids. Valkyrie's mobility could possibly be hindered thanks to those quills, which could cause unnecessary drag. But there's a reason why no flyer has quills that we know of. Also, Asdarchids aren't as good of flyers as people might have thought. They were so big and heavy that they chose to spend more time on the ground, and were likely only capable of flying for short periods of time. I mean, they were capable of flight, but it wasn't the most efficient flight. Harvey, meanwhile, isn't being weighed down by quills. He is lighter than Valkyrie, and with better internal organs, is able to stay airborne for much longer periods of time, being able to soar at high altitudes thanks to the bar-headed goose. Which would also come in very handy, because being able to choose when you start the fight could be crucial, with Harvey likely cruising at a much higher altitude than Valkyrie can. Now moving on to intelligence, these two are pretty much equal in terms of intelligence. Not exactly by choice either, it's because it's more of a necessity to protect themselves. The woodpecker brain cushions that they both possess is only possible thanks to their large tongues and relatively small brains. Although that's not to say woodpeckers are complete dum-dums. They may not be at the level of parrots and corvids, but they're still one of the more intelligent species of birds, up there with others like songbirds and vultures. So, these hybrids are far from stupid, but consider Volt and Maggie more the A students, and Valkyrie and Harvey are the more B or C students. So, with that category being equal, we then move on to congruity, which, since Valkyrie has a smaller number of creatures in the genome, you'd think that she'd win, but the numbers don't necessarily always work. It also depends on what you put in the genome. In terms for Harvey, at least 7 of the creatures are able to fly, possibly 6 if you don't count the Microraptor. But even the others can't fly, like the Cassowary and Dakotaraptor, they're still either birds or close relatives to birds. That helped because they also help to enhance the leg muscles, which would make Harvey generally quicker on the ground. It may even allow him to stand upright for short periods of time. So, I'd say the two are pretty much equal out in terms of congruity. So, now it's time to simulate the fight. In the skies, Valkyrie is cruising, just minding her own business, until she spots something above her, seeing a giant blue version of her swooping down at her, wings at the ready to punch her out the sky. Valkyrie tries to get out of the way, and manages to, but one of the wings does end up hitting her in the back, which causes some discomfort and pain. But Harvey is also feeling pain, as he's now got a bunch of quills stuck in one of his wings, but he does manage to shake them out. Valkyrie starts to turn around, ready for an attack, but then Harvey suddenly lets out a huge scream, courtesy of the white bellbird. And with Valkyrie not really having any kind of ear protection, she ends up feeling the effects of it, starting to become dazed and loopy, giving Harvey the perfect opportunity to strike. his beak ends up going directly into the Valkyrie's chest. And Valkyrie ends up going down. Quick. Valkyrie tries a controlled landing, but it's not exactly very graceful. She does end up surviving, but she's on her back and critically wounded. Havi then lands. Valkyrie tries crawling away and slashing at him with her legs, but Havi is able to just step on them. With stronger legs, he's able to pin her down, and then starts going to work on her with his wings. Basically bashing into her chest over and over and over and over again, until eventually Valkyrie is no more. Now, to be clear to the creator of Valkyrie Dionet, Valkyrie is not dead. She is okay, this was just a simulation, and she'll need to be alive for when that happens for real, in the Skybrid War's inevitable clash of all the Apexes. Or then again, that's just one situation, because honestly, these two are incredibly even. It could easily go either way. I mean, if Valkyrie is able to dodge that initial attack, she could easily strike Havi with her beak, sending him plummeting down to Earth as well. But then again, Havi is more adept in the air than Valkyrie. So, like I said, it could go so many different ways. But I feel like Havi is pretty much going to pull the majority of the wins in this kind of confrontation. Now, these episodes are going to be few and far between because, well, so far there's only really 3 hybrids I can do this kind of series on. There are 4 other Apexes, but 1, I don't have Discord, so I don't know what's in Hannibal the Sky Reaper's genome. And 2, Hannibal probably doesn't even deserve to be an Apex, because the creator just felt bad for unknowingly copying Hannibal. And plus, given Hannibal's stature, would likely not really do too much against Havi. So yeah, this was really good to do. Like, being able to be compared to a creature that could kill an Indominus 2.0, possibly having a creature that could also kill a 2.0, is a huge honour. So there's going to be a bit of a big gap between videos from now, because I'm going to be very busy next week. But I do have some things planned. Starting the next chapter of Bruce's battles, as well as having more hybrid Apexes hopefully reach Apex tier, so Havi can face them, and hopefully, when the time comes, be able to slay them